Hey everybody. Okay, for exercise 2, this is an interesting one because you could probably all look at it right at this point and have no idea whose it is. Because everybody, for the most part, everybody did pretty well. So this one was a hard one to find. A lot of stuff to give you feedback on because I think that most people didn't, or most people did a good job on this, and I feel like most people grew a lot in their understanding of the graph editor throughout this exercise. The problem I noticed the most is more of keeping arcs in mind as you're going through this. So I think most of you were able to control it, but maybe you weren't paying quite enough attention to the final arc of the animation. So here's one we see that like as it comes out of this first hole, kind of twists up and then twists up again. Now this may have been intentional to make it feel like the back end was kind of sliding, but that's kind of what it feels like. Is it kind of feels like it does a little slide there, and so that's not bad as long as it's intentional. And so that's the thing we have to try to figure out. And what this is it's a combination of the rotation of this object, right, and the forward motion of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to create a little motion trail on this object. Okay, and I want to look at stuff here to kind of think in terms of the arcs. Okay, so one of the things we'll notice is when we look at this, the arrow has a very specific and pretty clean arc, right? But because it's sort of twisting right there as it comes out, it doesn't feel like it's kind of going along that arc, right? It feels like its direction is now this way. And that's, again, that's not bad, but that's appears to be in our rotate Z. And so, do we just take rotate Z too far if we do that? And then we get to here, and there's a little bit of a broken tangent there. But if we just grab this key and adjust it, like we get a little bit more of that. Okay, so I think part of the problem also is that it just starts rotating suddenly right there. Okay, so rotations and translations don't always have to happen on the same keyframe, so you can actually make it start rotating really a frame earlier if you wanted to. So we did that. And when it gets to here, I think there's some other things going on with the rotation here too. Yeah, so we can work around with that. When it gets to here, that's pretty good. It starts going downward here, but that's where it feels like it needs another keyframe to point it downward. So add key tool, click that there. We're just going to kind of add that one in. Now that's probably going to mess this up a little bit. We just need to put those back together. See how that looks through there now. Okay. So now let's notice something. Once it gets, that's feeling pretty good on that rotate. Now let's look at it from the side. So we're seeing, again, it kind of feels like the butt is sliding, like it's a car hitting the brakes and turning its wheels, and so it's getting this like slide around a curve like we see in like action movies and stuff. And the question is, do we want that? And it may have been intentional. Again, if it's intentional, that's one thing. But if not, we gotta kind of go in here and see what we can do to, make it do what we want it to do. So right there, we get a little bit of. We need that. Let me frame up this whole curve here. Okay, I think part of this may be that we're starting out there, and we're slowly starting to build into that. Okay, let's set that back to auto. So we may need this to be favored a little bit. So we could add a key. I think I've shown you all this already, but if I select this, go to curves and weighted tangents, I can also turn on the tangent weights here, and then I can push and pull this a little bit as well. So we can get that. Let's see what that's. It's feeling good there. So again, here that's feeling a little strange. So let's just adjust it a little. Yeah, we're getting closer there. There we go. Okay, so once we get to here, then we start hitting some questions here. So is that the right point for it to be right there? Or does this need to be higher up? Yeah, and then we're overshooting here. Let's go ahead and add a key there just so we can control that. So that's the problem with the weighted tangents sometimes. Set that to auto so it's not so weighted. Yeah, let's see how that feels. So it's right here that we feel like we need a sharper turn, I think. Right. Nope. I'm just going to auto tangent that again. See how that goes now. So that goes right into it, but then by the time we're here, it's messed up again. So key, add key tool. And so this, the one that it's wanting us to have here, needs to swoop back down that way, right? Okay, so let's see how that's working, and if we can. So I see that now we get a little bit more of that curve through there. And by the time we're over to here, he's pointing completely the wrong way. So it's going to be a little bit of a fight getting this to do exactly what you want to do along this curve. Now again, I'm polishing curves on the translates. One of the reasons that's weird is because you kind of get this hitch on it there. And so you probably want to go back on the translates where it kind of hitches over there. Like if we just set that to, I think I just messed that up. Nope. Translate. Yeah, see how you get that hitch on your translate X and your translate Y. Both kind of have this hitch right here. So I'm just going to grab that and hit smooth, and you'll see like watch what it does to the curve here. So just kind of smooths that right out, so you don't get that curve through it. And that'll probably fix some of that where I was fighting with the. It's still not perfect though. We still got a little bit of a dip in there, and so I'm going to go in here and make this a little more like that. And that might be a smoother path for you to follow. So again, all of these are just little things I'm going to adjust so it flies through at a cleaner arc. Now the next thing I noticed on this though is that some people, the next issue I saw some people have is that some people would have the object or the arrow slow down and speed back up, and that's all right. It just has to feel smooth like everything else. So those are the two big notes I saw. Kind of keeping it flowing along the arc. I'm trying to remember which one had the slow down, speed back up. I honestly can't remember which one it was. But there would be some that would like slow down right before they would go through the hoop, and then speed up through the hoop, and then or slow down right before they go through the hoop, and then they'd speed up through the hoop, and then cut through. And I think that was sometimes it was intentional, sometimes it was because you had over keyframed that area where it goes through the hoop, and then hadn't gone in and cleaned out the graph editor to make sure your timing was working right. So those were the big issues that I saw that people were getting marked off for in this exercise. So hopefully that makes sense. I'll be back with video 3 for exercise 3 here in just a bit. Thanks. Bye.